So we have all of the patch notes, we've got all of them, so we're gonna do a little remembrance of all of the previous patch notes that we've seen.
As we go on, we remember all the times we...
Take this class and delete it, and then take this class and delete it, and then add 3 more classes to this class. Hi everybody, welcome to GameGorgon. My name is Krug.
I'm Indigo.
Today we're here to talk to you about patch 1.6, the rework for everything in the game.
Supposedly the last patch before release. I mean, they said that they're going to be making changes, but they're not necessarily going to be releasing the patches to people. Like, these are the changes that we're making because for those people that want to continue to play until release. We're now going to narrow it down with internal play.
There are a couple of huge changes in this patch, namely with the Alchemist, the Paladin, and the Sorcerer. Those are going to take a little bit longer for us to digest, so we're going to shelve those for now. We're not going to go over them in this video. We're going to go over the rest of the changes that are impactful, and then we're going to release a video next week about those changes. It might be multiple videos. We'll decide when we decide. Get off our backs. You're not my mom. Jeez.
Or you are.
Or you might be. My mom does watch these videos. Hello, Mom. Sorry for not calling you.
First, we're gonna just do some broad changes, which is a couple changes to how casting is going to be working.
They increase the damage die again.
Nope, with semantic components of moving your hands around, doing gestations with your hands.
Gesticulations. Gestation is grosser.
You can have things in your hands now. Really helps out paladins and clerics, but they can also help out casters that want to have two-handed weapons, stabs, stuff like that. All casters are now going to start with 5 cantrips instead of 4.
Which is really awesome because cantrips are very strong in this game, so having one more is not an inconsequential thing at all.
And then the only other just general spell that they've changed is Goodberry now does 1d6 instead of 1d4, and that is so that there is more healing that can be done from other classes other than the cleric.
Every time I hear Goodberry, I think Good Burger.
Yep.
Welcome to
Goodberry.
your home of the
Goodberry.
Can I take your order?
Next, we're going to go over class changes, starting with the Barbarian, who has an interesting new mechanic that's going to be added to Rage. There's going to be a DC that you have to beat every start of your turn while you're raging in order to maintain your rage. The DC is a flat check. It's going to start at 0, and then it's going to increase by 5 every round that you're in your rage, up to 20. If you fail the check, you drop out of rage immediately.
They wanted it to feel more wild. They wanted it to feel more like sporadic and just different instead of like on 3, off 1, on 3, off 1.
Rhythmic.
Theoretically, you could last more than 4 rounds.
Giggity.
Theoretically.
If you crit a bunch.
You only got to crit once.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, yeah. Barbarians are now becoming an expert in all simple and martial weapons at level 3 because of an added section to critical brutality. You can also now use Moment of Clarity to voluntarily end your rage, which is good because it's a little bit less predictable now.
Next is Bard. They've made some major changes to how muses work, and by major changes, I mean they've changed the feats at level 1 on how they work.
So make them actually consequential, as opposed to just like some random stuff that you pick at level 1.
So at level 1, there used to be 3 feats, and there still are those same 3 feats that are Bard feats that are specific to the type of muse that you chose. Now, previously you could just take whatever muse feat you wanted. They have now added the prerequisite to have the specific muse associated with that feat.
So the muses are going to now limit you down the road as a bard, but they did add a 4th level 1 feat that you can pick that's going to allow you to pick another muse and therefore be able to pick feats from that muse at later levels.
Yeah, you're giving up 1 feat to possibly you're
open up the door to many feats.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, you can take that fourth first level feat to being able to take multiple muses. So theoretically, you could spend 2 feats to gain all 3 muses. Next
up is Druid, where shape change polymorphed quite a bit. He wrote that.
Yeah.
He wrote that, I liked it. Now at level 3, if you take the wild shape feature, you can use animal form, which was previously locked into another feat at level 4. So you had to invest further into this tree to get animal form. Wild shape by itself was just insect form, and it was kind of very utilitarian, not useful in combat almost ever. I think ever. I think ever is a safe way to put that. And so that change by itself makes wild shape way more viable.
Yeah.
On top of that though, form control, which was a 10th level feat, is now a 4th level feat. And so not only are they giving you value for free, they're giving you earlier access to more value for this feature, pushing it towards viability. When we talked about the Druid,
The biggest complaint was the fact that wild shape is pointless.
This is the class fantasy. This is what people, not everyone, but this is what some people that play the Druid really want to be, is the person who sits there and turns into big animals and mauls people to death. And they made it very difficult to make an optimal character for that. This is helping a ton for that.
Monk, the one I'm definitely not going to talk about very much, is they've made a big change to how key pools work and how key strike works, and basically they just reuse the same name like 5 times and it's dumb.
It's very confusing. They basically moved things around in the monk's feat and power design to make room for key rush, but in doing that they made a feat and a power both called key strike. But the feat key strike gives you access to the power key strike or the power key rush. One of those 2 names needs to change. Ranger's got a couple changes too, and I kind of like all of them.
Hunt target has changed. It's now more of like out of combat kind of situation. It's less specific damage. They have then turned around and added Hunter's Edge, which makes it more viable as a whole. Hunter's
Edge gives you 3 things, the first of which is called Flurry, which is going to reduce your multiple attack penalty to -4, -8, or -3, -6 if you're using an agile weapon.
Now that used to be a part of Hunt Target, but
Right.
now is just a default part of your class.
Yep.
Next part of Hunter's Edge is Precision, which adds an additional 1d6 precision damage on the first target hit on your turn.
Last is Stalker, which gives you a +2 circumstance bonus to Deception, Intimidation, and Stealth, and Recall Knowledge checks against your target.
At 17th level, you're now going to get Masterful Hunter, which changed what it used to be to now improving all of the stats that you gained from Hunter's Edge and made it even better.
Next up, we have Roger. Stabby, stabby, sneaky, sneaky.
But not anymore, because they've kind of separated it into 3 different kind of categories.
That was a solid transition.
Not even planned. So the first one is Brute, which we knew about Brute, and which is you basically can now change your key ability from Dexterity to Strength if you want.
K-E-Y, key, not K-I like the monk.
No, your
K-I.
key ability.
Yes.
You're also going to be trained in Medium Armor if you choose Brute, as well as gain access to a feat that you have to have Brute as your chosen rogue. I don't know what to call it anymore.
Yeah.
The chosen class feature?
Yep. Brute is a prerequisite for some feats now.
The feat is Brutal Beating, which
Giggity.
is a first level feat, which now whenever you critically hit against an enemy, they are now frightened 1.
Next up is Scoundrel. If you choose Scoundrel, your key ability can be Charisma or Dex, and you gain access to Scoundrel feats. You gain access to features like Distract and Feint, which is going to give creatures who are flat-footed to you a -2 to Perception and Reflex saves, in addition to -2 to AC.
They have to be flat-footed from your feint action.
Yes, I should have said that.
Finesse Striker was the original base in the Rogue class. The next feat is Unbalanced Blow. When you critically strike against an enemy, they are considered to be flat-footed until the end of your next turn, but just for you. And that's why I feel that the Scoundrel is a little bit stronger, because 1, the feint action you have control over by being able to, like, you're rolling
Yeah, you don't have to roll so high.
Yeah, exactly. You're rolling against their roll. And then the other 2 you have to crit, which means you only have a 5% chance of getting the other 2. It also, with Scoundrel, helps your friends, because now it's against reflex saves as well as having, a -2.
Yeah, the sorcerer can AoE them a little bit more reliably and stuff like that.
Exactly.
For sure.
Well, the other 2, you have a 5% chance, and it only helps you
A
out.
little more than a 5% chance if their AC is lower.
True.
Substantially lower. But if their AC is that much lower, they're probably going to die to you really quickly anyways. So it doesn't really feel like it's adding a lot of value in that case.
Yeah.
Because you can crit over 10 over the... You guys know, we've talked about it before. Next up is Sorcerer. They added a new entire bloodline. We're going to talk about that later, because that's going to need some deep divery.
Lastly is going to be Wizard, which I actually really like the changes that they've made. The first one is Quick Preparation, which is you're able to spend 10 minutes to basically re-prep a spell.
Yeah.
Which is great because it keeps it from being in combat, which is great. So if you're going around, you're like, man, I really wish I had Detect Magic instead of whatever spell you had prep.
Yeah.
Instead of going like, all right, guys, we're gonna just stay here and we're gonna sleep for 8 hours.
You don't have to rest for 8 hours
No.
in order to change your spells, which makes sense, right? Because it's based on study. You don't have to sleep to learn. Like, that's not how that works. You don't learn in the morning. You learn all the time.
Yep.
I think the main important thing is that it removes a lot of metagame.
Sure.
So even if it is a little strong, I'll take the metagame removal because that's literally what ends up happening to Wizards as it is now. They end up metagaming hard.
You're gonna spend, you know, an hour to replace 6 spells. Great, cool. Your character spent an hour.
Done.
Yeah, like that's a way better means of gameplay.
100% agree.
I think it fixes a lot.
When you become an expert spellcaster, you get access to a pretty interesting mechanic that allows you to take 2 spell slots of the same level and trade them for a spell slot of up to 2 levels higher than the level of spells that you sacrificed, which is pretty unique, pretty awesome. You're basically taking your spell slots and consolidating them upwards. If you're a specialist, you can do this up to 2 times per day, but the spell has to be of the arcane school in which you specialize. If you're a universalist, you can only do this once per day, but you can do it with any kind of spell.
Yeah.
Arcane spell.
Yes. If you want to do it twice for a specialist, they have to be of 2 different levels. So you
Correct,
you can't give up 2 first level spells for a 3rd level spell and then try to give up another 2 first level spells.
Yeah, that's not well, I guess, nope.
I guess they're trying to prevent people from trying to use their arcane focus as a spell slot.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay,
thought
okay,
process
fair
behind
enough.
it, but
Anyways, it's written that you can only do it once per spell level.
yeah. With the Master Spellcaster feature, the additional spells that you can convert increases by 2 for a specialist and then 1 for a universalist.
The Legendary Spellcaster feature is going to give you an additional 2 uses if you're a specialist, and an additional use if you are a universalist, bringing the total up to 6 for a specialist and 3 for a universalist.
If you liked our shirts, make sure to head over to Void Merch because they sent us these awesome shirts and we really like them and we hope that you do too. The link for their content, I keep doing that.
I mean, it is content. It contains my body. Link for the shirts are in the description. All right, everybody, head down to the comments. Let us know what you think of these changes. Do you think that they are positive? Do you think that they're negative? Do you think that they don't mean anything at all? In which case, you should probably rewatch the video because there's some pretty big stuff in there. And then stick around, wait for next week. We'll come out with the 3 big class changes. We just need a little bit more time to go through them. While you're leaving a comment, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to do absolutely fucking nothing except for put a smile on our big dumb faces. Hit the notification bell to put an even bigger smile on our dumb faces and to get notified whenever we post new content. I'm Krug. You can talk to me at KrugQT on Twitter.
My name is Indigo and you can talk to me on Twitter at IndigoQT, or you can talk to both of us with any form of social media right here below us. Until next time, we've been GameGorgon.